All right, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Cross Talks Live MMA News. So, first up, what we are going to be going over today is going to be there's some sad news about this upcoming pay per view weekend. There's also going to be the breakdown of this upcoming pay per view weekend. We got some reactions to or some news from Stephen Wonderboy Thompson about his leg crazy shin split, I guess you could say, from him, and we got some other news as well, including potentially the return of Nate Diaz. So let's go ahead and just get right on to it. First up, not that one. What the fuck? Why is this doing that? Stupid thing. Okay. There we go. First up, let me. Why is this still like that? What the fuck is going on here? That's not it. There we go. Okay. Dear Lordy. First up, unfortunately, Joe Rogan will be absent for Dustin Poirier's retirement fight. No idea as to why. Don't ask me. Let's find out. I don't even know if this will say it, but fight fans will be disappointed to learn that Joe Rogan will not be in the commentary booth for UFC 318 this weekend. While 318 while being an astonishingly weak pay-per-view card. See, I disagree. I think it's actually a pretty strong pay-per-view card. Still plays host to the alleged retirement of Dustin Poirier. The Diamond has been a UFC mainstay for over a decade, and his absence from the roster will be a tough pill to swallow come Sunday morning. Okay. No, astonishingly weak pay-per-view card. We're going to go over it in a minute, but there has been far weaker cards as of this year. So I don't know who wrote this article. Mark Rebles. Fuck you. Despite on the monumental occasion, one of the most iconic voices in the octagon will not be there. As reported by MMA Junkies, Mike Bone, Rogan will not, I think that's how you say his name, Rogan will not be in the commentary booth for UFC 318. The team will be made up of Paul Felder, John Anik, and Daniel Cormier. I like Felder, but honestly, I'd prefer Dominic Cruz. I like how he gives DC shit, so it's a little more fun to me. But Felder is a good broadcaster. The Louisiana-based card features 14 fights subject to change. We're not going to go over that because we're going to go over it in a minute. It remains to be seen whether the Diamond really calls it a quits, especially considering the emphatic win over Holloway could shoot him straight into lightweight title contention. Also, I thought he was going to quit, but after this past weekend, 4th of July weekend, 2 weekends ago now, I don't know, man. He might want to fight on that White House card, so I could see him doing one more. But to be fair, there's always going to be a reason to do one more. So who knows? No reason as to why Joe Rogan will not be there. So that does suck. I love when he's there, especially for retirement fighters or fighters retirement fights, especially big fighters like Dustin. So it is sad that he will not be there. But best of luck to him in whatever he's doing for the weekend. And that is that. Next up, Wonderboy Thompson had a crazy injury to his shin. It was split to the bone. I've actually had that as well. I'm not that flexible to show you right now, but I have had that happen, and it is not fun. Shin split to the bone. Stephen Thompson released his first statement after a controversial UFC Nashville loss. I could see how he lost, but I could also see how he maybe didn't lose. So it doesn't matter. He still lost at the end of the day. Stephen Thompson didn't address the controversial judging in the UFC National co-main event, but the shin injury he suffered in the fight is more gnarly than expected. Thompson, damn, so mine wasn't vertical like that. Mine was wait, no, it was horizontal. Wait, was it? I don't know. Let me look. No, yeah, it was horizontal because it looked like a smile. Uh, okay. Thompson was on the wrong end of a split decision on Saturday's fight night. In the second round, Wonderboy had a leg kick checked by Bonfim that immediately split open his shin, leaving a gaping wound that bled for the rest of the fight. Seconds later, Thompson hurt Bonfim with the head kick using that same shin, but couldn't put his opponent away. Yeah, that was crazy. I was like, oh yeah, he's not going to do that anymore. Could you imagine? Taste my shin blood, fucker. Could you imagine that? Yikes. Thompson released a statement. Let's go ahead and watch what he has to say. Oh no, I'm what they call tarred with a re in front of it. I didn't have this shit playing. Okay, let's go.
What's up, guys? Back in the hotel room. And first and foremost, I want to thank all my fans for coming out, showing your love and support. It was just amazing out there tonight, and I really do appreciate it. And I'm always grateful for the opportunity to perform in front of you guys. And well, got to get back and heal my shin up. Maybe do some more shin conditioning.
Shin
Love you
conditioning.
guys.
Bro, this guy's like 50 years old. The only thing you need to condition is the couch, bro. I mean, but he did look good. I will say, Wonderboy Thompson, even though he's on a 3-fight skid, he looked good for being 1,000 years old in this game. He keeps up. He's like Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva went on that terrible skid of losses, but he kept up with the talent. So good for Wonderboy. Get that healed and let's get back out there. Hopefully, get one more in by the end of the year. But who knows? 42-year-old is the oldest fighter on the roster, but has still been performing at a high level. Yes, very high. Despite the 3-fight skid, Thompson gave surgeon contender Joaquin Buckley a tough fight before he was eventually stopped in the third round at UFC 307 this past October. Prior to that, he was submitted by Shavkat Rakhmonov. In a recent interview at MMA Fighting, he revealed that following UFC Nashville, he has one fight left on his contract. How that final contractual bout goes will shape if he'll continue competing. Honestly, he's had a great career. Do the one fight and get it over with and go to Karate Combat. Karate is his mainstay. Go to Karate Combat. It would probably be a huge draw for them. And he might even potentially make some more money there in the long run. But that is his gnarly, yummy injury. Let's take another look at that. Oh wait, no, I don't have Instagram, bastard. Where'd it go? Yikes! All right. So with that, let me know. Have you ever had an injury like that? I have not had an injury like that, but I've made a stupid move and tried to jump a wall, and I jumped into the wall and it split it like that. So yeah, there's that for me. But let me know all your thoughts about that down below. What do you think Stephen Wonderboy Thompson could or should do after his last fight on his contract? All right, next up, UFC is returning to the land down under. Let's close this. What the fuck? UFC announces a return to Perth. UFC is headed back to Perth, Western Australia for the first time. Perth will host a UFC fight night rather than a pay-per-view. The event takes place September 27th, September 28th for the locals at the RAC Arena. The card will be the fourth city UFC has hosted, or wait, what? The card will be the fourth the city has hosted in UFC history. The other three were UFC 221, 284, and UFC 305. That looks beautiful. I would love to go there. The promotion announced the event officially Monday, though no bouts were revealed. The Oceanic region is home to numerous UFC fighters, including featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski and welterweight champion Jack Della Maddalena. With the title unlikely to be on the line, ranked fighters for the region who do not have fights on the books who could headline the event include Israel Adesanya, Dan Hooker, and Kai Kara France. So, with that, very quick and simple, UFC Fight Night Perth. Fuck it, dude. Put a title on the line. Let's get Volkanovski back in there, man. Who cares if it's a fight night? He don't care. Make it a pay-per-view. Who gives a shit? Come on. So, but the Perth fights, or not even Perth, just the Australia fights, are always fun. The Australians come out to bang. Pause. And yeah, so let me know, who do you want to see fight on this Perth card? I would see Dan Hooker. I mean, he was supposed to fight Gaethje. What was that? February, I think. He's supposed to fight Gaethje in February. You could easily have him main event. Israel Adesanya and Sean Strickland, that'd be a fun main event fight as well. They're both coming off losses. Izzy thinks he could get that win. And I mean, I don't really know where Sean Strickland's at in his career right now, as far as whether he's on like the go back down or still on like he's kind of plateauing, and now is either where you go down or up again. So there's a lot of fun fights that could happen there. Kai Kara France just had a pretty big loss, so I think he's going to take some time off. But who knows? Maybe he wants to get back in there and find out. But always fun cards. Let me know who you want to be fighting on that card in the comments below. All right, next up, we have a call out for Conor McGregor by who? Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz calls for a Conor McGregor trilogy. There ain't nobody else to fight. Yeah, sure. Nate Diaz wants one more crack at Conor McGregor. One of the most beloved fighters in UFC history, Diaz broke into superstardom when he unexpectedly upset Conor McGregor on short notice at UFC 196 in 2016. The win led to his iconic "I'm not surprised, motherfuckers." line and a rematch just 5 months later that McGregor won via majority decision. Since then, a possibility of a third fight has followed the two, and now nearly a decade since their first encounter, Diaz wants them to run things back again. If I could fight, let me do this in my Nate Diaz impression. If I could fight anywhere right now, I fight with all due respect them. If Conor McGregor come back, shit, Conor McGregor. Diaz said out cold. There ain't nobody else to fight, really. Not right now. I would like to come back and impress everybody first. Not that he needs to, but it would be great to see him back. Everybody hating on him. I like to beat up somebody on top of the world, and I think he's got the capability to do that. McGregor has not competed since TKO lost to Dustin Poirier in their trilogy at UFC 264. He was booked to compete against Michael Chandler at UFC 303 last summer, but withdrew before the bout because his little toe was out. Diaz, meanwhile, has not competed in MMA since 2022 when he submitted Tony Ferguson in his final UFC fight at UFC 279. Since then, Stockton's finest had a pair of boxing bouts. First, a loss to Jake Paul, then a majority decision win over George Masvidal last year. And if the McGregor fight doesn't happen, there are a couple of other matchups he could be interested in. Then that little Ilia Topuria, he's doing a really good job. He's a little small for me, but those two are probably the best fights. Yeah, but they're not going to give you a title shot off the jump, bro. And then on the boxing side, obviously Canelo or Crawford, I ain't asking for nothing, but when I whoop someone's ass, I'm going to get them motherfuckers too, with all due respect. So that's my plan. Yeah, you're not going to get Canelo or Crawford or a freaking title match in the MMA, bro. I'm sorry. I like you, Diaz, but no, that's not happening. And if McGregor fights, they're not going to give the trilogy fight. They're going to do the Michael Chandler Conor McGregor fight at the White House. So with this, though, let me know, who would you like to see Nate Diaz fight? Would you like to even see him come back to MMA and fight? It's been out for a while, and he is older, so who knows how he will do with the new talent that has up and come. But I would like to see McGregor. I would say do McGregor and Chandler at the White House, and then do McGregor Diaz maybe to cap off the year. I think that's what they should do. McGregor with McGregor's last two fights. But anyways, let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Okay. Next up, going into our second to last article for today, or I guess this is the last article that we're going to do the breakdown. What's it called? The broadcasting deal. Nobody knows what's up with it. Nobody knows what's going on. I got an itch. And but Dana White says it is likely to go with a platform that is way more global. So that to me sounds like good news, because that to me says they're going to go away from ESPN Plus, because I hate ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus sucks. The app is ass, whether it's on the TV, the Apple TV, the app. It's terrible. The app on the phone, it's awful. Too much shit, not enough organization. It's fucking terrible. Disney, get your shit in line or hire me to figure it out. The UFC is still negotiating with a new broadcast deal that kicks off in 2026, and Dana White offered a brief hint on where the promotion may be headed. Currently, an exclusive contract with ESPN through the end of 2025, the UFC is reportedly seeking around $1 billion per year under the new terms, with the possibility that the package ends up being split between multiple partners. Speculation has run wild for months that the UFC may end up there's my alarm. That the UFC may end up working with Netflix or Amazon Prime on at least part of the new broadcast fight deal, due to sheer reach and volume that those streaming platforms can provide. Netflix alone boasts over 300 million subscribers worldwide, a number ESPN, which is a US-based network only, can't come close to touching, as linear cable continues to struggle in recent years. So yeah, they're definitely going to be going with Netflix. I don't know why it's a thing. They're going to be going with Netflix and maybe Prime, and stick with ESPN and do a little bit of different things here. Netflix is the one that could pay the most money. They're the ones that have the most eyes. And also, UFC and MMA isn't what it used to be out here in the United States anymore. A lot of people in the United States don't really care about MMA. You could see the numbers in the pay-per-views. You could see the numbers in the audience attendance. It's a lot of people flying in from out of country, really, to come and see them, and it's huge. It's blowing up in places like out in the like Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, things like that. Russia, obviously. So everywhere else but here, the sport is continuing to grow. Here, it's kind of plateauing, which is a little bit weird, which I don't understand. But it's going to be Netflix. I don't know why anybody thinks anything different. But let me know, who do you think? Do you think it'll be Prime instead? I'm pretty sure it's going to be Netflix. I just don't think Netflix is going to pay them the 1 billion. So I think they're going to try to split between Netflix and Prime, or Netflix and ESPN, and do like, okay, 700 million for this company, 300 million for that company, get their $1 billion mark that way. I would like to see. I would like to see 2 seasons of Ultimate Fighter each year and 2 seasons of Contender Series each year. And if they do Netflix and they want to keep the pay per view model, have people have the Netflix and then the pay per views be $20 instead of 80 or $30. I still think what they should have done is hire their own broadcast team. I think they should have. I think Dana should have. It's good. It's very hard to do. It's not easy, but make your own broadcasting. Uh, Make yourself your broadcasting thing. They do all the shit for the BJJ competition, for the Fight Pass Invitationals or whatever they're called. So they do have broadcasts through that, and that's all on the UFC Fight Pass app. That's not on ESPN Plus. Not that I think. So I think they should have just put everything they had into their own company. Then you could use all that as write-offs, I think, and just done everything on UFC Fight Pass. Do your pay-per-views on UFC Fight Pass. Do your the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Do the Ultimate Fighter. Do the Contender Series. Do anything that has to do with the UFC. Do on the UFC Fight Pass app. Have people pay $50 a month for all that shit. $40 a month for all that shit on the UFC Fight Pass app, and then you could keep the pay-per-view model and keep the pay-per-views. Have the pay-per-views linked to the UFC Fight Pass, and then have the UFC Fight Pass be either $80 if you, or I'm sorry, the pay per view be $80 if you don't have UFC Fight Pass, or if you do and you pay the $40 a month, then you pay an extra 30 or 40 for the pay per view. I think that's what they should have done. It's much easier said than done, but let me know what you think about all that down below. And for our final segment today, we will be going over the UFC 318 card. So let's get started with these predictions. Excuse me. So starting off the early prelims, UFC 318, we have Carly Judas versus Nicole Cagliari. I think both these girls just fought recently. No, I'll go with Carly on this one. Then we have Bruno Ferreira versus Jackson McVeigh. That's tough. I'm gonna go. I'll go with US. I'll go with Jackson. Then we have Ryan Spann versus Lucas Bresky. I like you, Ryan Spann, but I'm sorry, your time has come. It's going to be Bresky with the win on that one. After that, we have Jimmy Crute. Damn, he just fought recently too. And Marcin Pracino. I'm going to go with Jimmy Crute. Then we have Adam Fugat versus Islam Dulatov. I'm going to go with Adam on this one for the early prelim. Probably might not be him, but I'm going to go with Adam. Then we have Ateba Gautier versus Robert Valentine. Oh, this is the guy from, this is the Nordic God guy from Ultimate Fighter. I'm going to go with Robert. Then after that we have Francisco Prado versus Nikolai Ventrenica. His name is too fucking long to say, so I'm going to go with Prado over here. Then we have Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen. Ooh, this is going to be a good one. I'm going to go Brendan Allen. Come on, dude. If you guys want to fight in the hotel lobby, you get better put on a damn good fucking fight in this prelim. After that, we have Kyler Phillips versus Vinicius Oliveira. I believe, is that Charles's brother? I'm going to go with Kyler Phillips on that one. Going in to our main card, we have Michael Johnson versus Daniel Zellhuber. Oh, man, I like Michael Johnson, but I think Daniel's going to take the win on that one. Then we have Dan Ige versus Patricio Pitbull. I like them both. I will go with Dan Ige on that one. After that, we have Kevin Holland versus D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez. I'm going to go Kevin Holland. Never go against Kevin Holland. After that, in the co-main event, terrible co-main event, we have Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov. I got Kopylov. And then, I wouldn't say this is a week. Earlier in the stream, it said this is a week pay-per-view card. I disagree. I do not think this is a week pay-per-view card. I think this is a week co-main event. They could have done a little bit better with that. And maybe for your start, they could have had Vettori and Brendan Allen be the start of the prelim, and then have Michael Johnson and Zellhuber be the primary on the prelims. But either way, Costa versus Kopylov. Kopylov is going to take the win on that. I am not a fan of Costa. And then you have Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. Very close fight. I know Dustin's won the first two. It's just so difficult. I want Dustin Poirier to win. It's his final fight. I want him to win. My heart tells me win. but I think Max Holloway will retain the BMF champion. But hey, if he loses, then I'm happy for Dustin. So that is what it is. And I like how they have champion there. But those are my prelims, or no, my prelims, Jesus. Those are my predictions for the UFC 318 fight card this week. I will be back later this afternoon to go over the what's it called? Media day. I'll go over the media day interviews. I'll do Holloway Poirier. I'll just figure this out right now. Holloway Poirier, Holland, probably Ige. I'll do Brendan Allen, and I think that'll be it. So I'll react to those like 4 or 5 guys on their media day stuff. Tomorrow is Thursday. That is the God dang it, what's that called? The pre-fight conference. I'll do a live stream reaction to that as well. And I'll be back with some more MMA news tomorrow as well. So be sure to tune in for that. And yeah, with that, let me know your predictions in the comments below. And I will see you guys later today. I'll see you later. So I'm gonna try to come back around 3 to do that. So 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, media day reactions, and then at 7 p.m. tonight on my Cross Talks and Movies channel, my sub channel where I talk about movies and movie reviews, I will be doing a live first time reaction watch party to Cinderella Man. So sticking in the realm of fighting all over the place this week. So with that, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.